If the word networking makes you cringe, you're not alone. Most of us imagine awkward small talk at conferences or cold messages on LinkedIn that never get a response. But what if I told you that some of the biggest breakthroughs my clients have experienced didn't come from strangers or recruiters? They came from casual conversations that were already there, just waiting to be activated. I once worked with a client named Jenna. She'd been laid off from a marketing role and was applying to jobs every day. During one of our sessions, I asked, "Who already knows the value you bring?" She laughed and said, "Honestly, no one's hiring right now." But then she remembered an old colleague who moved to a different company, and one short message later, it was something like, "Hey, I saw your company's growing in digital marketing. I'd love to catch up and learn more about what's happening there." Something like that. It turned into coffee, then a referral, and then eventually a job offer. See, that's the thing about networking. It's not about who you don't know. It's about reconnecting with who you already do. Networking isn't about collecting contacts. It's about collecting context. It's learning about how people, roles, and organizations all fit together and where you might add value. The most successful job seekers focus less on asking for jobs and more on asking for insights. So when you reframe your approach from "help me find a job" to "help me learn," people naturally open up. And often those conversations turn into opportunities. Now, I want to tell you about another client, Marcus. He wanted to transition from operations into project management. Together, we built a plan that included 5 LinkedIn messages per week. But here's the twist. No resumes, no direct asks. Just curiosity. He'd ask things like, "Hey, I'm exploring project management as a career path. Would you be willing to share what you've learned in your role?" 3 weeks later, one of those 5 conversations turned into a referral. Within a month, Marcus had 2 interviews and a new sense of clarity about his career direction. When you lead with curiosity, your career story practically writes itself. Here's a simple formula I share in my interview prep coaching. First step is reach out, then reconnect, relate, and request. Reach out to people you already know or admire. Reconnect with warmth. Acknowledge your shared history or your interests. Relate by sharing a short update about what you're exploring. And number 4 is request something small. Maybe it's insight, advice, or a perspective, but not a job. Because when people feel seen, they respond. One of my favorite stories comes from Sarah. She's a finance professional who felt invisible in her own company. She didn't want to leave, but she was ready for something new. So we crafted a few internal networking messages. They were short, they were genuine, they were strategic. Within weeks, she had 3 coffee chats with leaders she'd never met before. One of them eventually became a mentor. Another helped her design a stretch assignment that landed her a promotion. And sometimes your next opportunity isn't out there. It's right where you already are. But remember this, networking is a long game, not a one-time task. Here's how you keep it going. First of all, you set a rhythm. 2 meaningful conversations per week, or whatever your goal might be. Follow up. A simple thank you or an update keeps you top of mind. Never skip a follow-up. The third thing is to add value. You may share an article, congratulate them on a post, or connect them to someone else in your network. Because when networking becomes a part of how you operate, not just something you do, your career starts to open up naturally. If you're ready to rework how you approach your job search, if you are tired of sending resumes into the black hole, and want to start creating opportunities through real conversations. This is exactly what we focus on in my interview preparation coaching program. We build your story. We practice your conversations. We turn your network into your greatest career asset. You can learn more and you can grab a free networking worksheet at collectivegrowthcc.com. It's a simple tool to help you identify, prioritize, and connect with people who can open the right doors for you. Your next opportunity probably isn't on a job board. It's in a network. Let's make sure you're ready when it appears.